do you look for whenever you're breaking down film in an offensive lineman? What are there a couple of key things that really stand out to you or jump out to you?
Sure. The biggest piece is execution. How to get a kid to, be able to execute at a high level. And so what that looks like, is first, number one, from a physical standpoint, physically, am I getting my job done? The second piece is the mental piece, does the kid understand the intent, of a play? Is he, putting himself or his body rather in position to, maintain leverage or, move a defender, so that we can, run the football or protect the quarterback and those things, you know what I mean? So, explosive movements. I mean, there's so many different aspects. I could go on for days about it, you know what I mean, in terms of what you look for. The biggest things I think that apply to a successful offensive line play, is toughness, it's grit, it's guys that truly love the position. It's a selfless position. It's something that you have to be willing to give more of yourself. You have to be able to pour into a unit. It's not a position that you're going to get a bunch of individual glory or accolades. It's something to me that, when you're recognized as a group. And what I tell my guys on a daily basis, that the greatest compliment that you can receive as an offensive lineman is that you play hard. And so that's our standard. Our spring campaign will be based on effort. We want to be the hardest playing guys on the field, anytime people take a look at us.
We've seen quarterbacks, receivers go straight from high school to play in this true freshman and championship games. This is a different position, though.
Sure.
These apparently very talented and coveted linemen that are coming in. Any chance they can help you or see the field or play, or is it just not realistic at this position?
I think there's several of the guys that we signed that are going to play. I think we did a good job, as a staff of, number one, targeting the right guys and, bringing some guys in that physically do have ability to help us. One of our young guys on campus now, Will Campbell, doing a fantastic job, with his training and development. He's got a long way to go in terms of learning how to play the game, at a high level. But in terms of want to, it's unmatched. I mean, he's highly motivated. He has a ton of pride in, being here at LSU, and I think he's going to be phenomenal for us. So I'm doing everything I can to, elevate the young guys in the room, create competitive depth, and put our players in a position that every day they come to work, they have to earn the right to go play, for LSU. And so I think that's something that's going to enhance our unit. I think it's something that's going to take us really to the next step in our development.
Outside of corner, I don't know anybody that's got a bigger challenge than you.
Sure. Yeah, it's up there. It's up there, for sure. I'm excited about the challenge. I think about midway through the season last year, I started to see growth in our guys. I saw guys taking the next step. I saw guys elevating themselves and playing better together. And then, my biggest fear is that I'd run out of time, and so now I have time. Coach Kelly's granted me the opportunity to be here. And so every day I wake up, it's how can we get better? It's the time that I'm allotted with our players, not wasting 1 second of it. I have relationships in my room now that are authentic. My kids know I care about them. They know that I'm here to serve them and help them, really achieve everything that they came here to do from an athletic standpoint, in school and even beyond that. So now at this point, it's a matter of how far can we go with it. We're working our butts off. Our kids, I think, understand, expectation level here. I think they've been, challenged and called out, and they get it. And we don't run from that challenge. We're going to accept it and go fight.
You're the lone holdover. A lot of what I think seems the staff is doing right now is developing that foundation, right? The culture change, whatever you want to call it, right? But I guess just from your perspective, what are you seeing that is encouraging you about the direction that the whole program is moving?
I think it starts with our players. I mean, they have been unbelievably resilient. They've never once complained. In fact, I think they've embraced, just a new challenge. Turning the page, a new set of coaches, new expectations, new processes, different ways of doing things. And really, it's not something that's uncommon in football. Especially for the higher up you move. Change is inevitable. It's part of the game, and so I've been encouraged by our players, their attitudes, the way they're working. Everything that Coach Kelly is putting in place for our guys are things that are going to benefit them, not only in football but really even beyond. And I'm excited about the things that Coach Kelly emphasizes for our players. Number one, academics, is huge. The emphasis that he's placing on, our guys, being high achievers in the classroom, the kids have risen to the challenge. I mean, you're seeing, significant growth in that area, and that's something that doesn't get talked about. You know what I mean? But as a coach, it's impactful. You see it, and it's why these guys come to school here. The second piece is you see gains in the weight room. You're seeing these kids' bodies change. They're getting bigger. They're getting faster. Some guys are leaning out. And so it's exciting. The kids have given me so much encouragement for really how far this thing can go.
2 more questions.
How sincere, I mean, obviously it is sincere, but tell me how sincere is the thought process of graduating and stuff? Because obviously coaches are hired and fired by how many games you win in that stadium, and some people may say, well, it doesn't matter if you graduate or not, but obviously you brought that up several times. It's something he wants to be done here.
Sure. From Coach Kelly's standpoint, it's not words. It's not a slogan. It's not just a statement. It's who we are. It's our main focus. Graduating champions. It's what you'll hear our message to our players. While they're here. I think a lot of kids in recruiting. There's a lot of bad information out there in terms of the NFL and what it looks like for kids, and people thinking that by choosing whatever university they're going to go seal their fortune by playing there for 3 years and then being a first-round draft pick. And I think there's a ton of I think it's bad. It's dangerous for a lot of young kids, because there's some kids that don't understand it, so they don't fully invest their time or effort into number one, obtaining a valuable education. I think number two, networking, building their brand. And so it's a shame. I've seen it. I've seen it. At different places in my travels, and it's unfortunate. Here that's not going to be the standard. We're going to hold our kids accountable. The expectation is that they graduate. Is that they not only graduate but have a future beyond college and beyond football. Whenever their time is up playing football, they need to be able to step into a career of their choice where they can go out and continue to be passionate. So. I'm fully supportive of how we're doing it here with Coach Kelly. I think that that should be a huge selling point for why people come to LSU.
Brad, this may be nothing, and you can tell me if it is, but I think for the first time that I can remember, there's it's not a majority because I just counted, but there's 6 black assistant coaches, 6 white coaches on staff. And I think, none of them are coordinators yet, but obviously you had your opportunity as a head coach. Is that important? Do you feel like that things are getting better in that area?
Yeah, I do. I think that's kind of a broad. I mean, I think there's so many layers to that
Sure.
question. Do I feel like things from college football standpoint are getting better? Yes.
More here specifically.
Here at LSU, yeah. I don't think that's ever once been talked about. I think the things that Coach Kelly looked for, in assistant coaches was he wanted to hire good men. I think he wanted to hire people who were mentors, who were fully invested in their players. And so to me, I never really looked at it from that standpoint. I think it's a good question. You know what I mean? It's something I hadn't thought about. In building relationships, I didn't know, hardly any of the coaches that came in. And so getting to know Coach Denbrock, Coach Sloan, Cortez. I mean, the relationships we're building. They transcend race. They transcend our background. They transcend any of those things. Right now, we're all committed to a cause. Every one of us is driven to be the best at what we do, and so I think to me that's our players feed off of that. I think that we can be the example for how you go out and change those things outside of the stadium. You know what I'm saying? And so I hadn't thought of it that way. My experience here at LSU has been extremely positive. Let me say that. Being from here, I think that just growing up in South Louisiana in general, you hear this, we've all heard the stories. We know kind of what's out there. I think that we've been incredibly progressive. I think LSU's been incredibly intentional about making waves and being outspoken about racial equity. And I'm proud to be a part of that. I'm glad that the opportunity they gave me. I hope that in some form or fashion I could carry the torch and maybe continue to advance that.
Thanks.
You bet. Thank you.